Welcome to our concert this evening. This is our 5th grade classroom music and orchestra concert. We're so glad to see you here tonight. Thank you for bringing your students here. It's a nice night to be inside, I think. Some of you may recall our concert in November where we did a concert about the origins and the beginning of and the history of the United States, and about how the Pilgrims came over on the Mayflower and the things that happened to them and those types of things. Well, at that time we asked the students to do an assignment. We asked them to go home and talk to their parents and grandparents and find out where their ancestors did come from when they came to the United States. And we got some wonderful stories from the students, and we thank you for helping them with this, because that is going to be the basis of our concert tonight. Tonight we're going to celebrate all the wonderful countries that your ancestors have come from. And we're going to have the students read their own stories to you, and it's been so much fun to do this. I've just enjoyed it so much. We're also going to celebrate the music from these various countries that people have immigrated when they've immigrated to America, the countries they have come from. So this is about your ancestors and about things that are happening today, and we will know you will enjoy it very much as we have enjoyed preparing it for you. So we will begin now with our first piece, which talks about the United States, the 50-nifty United States.
Individual state. The Native Americans came to America before the colonists. We are of the Ojibwe tribe, White Earth, Minnesota. My relatives helped the colonists and taught them many things. The colonists brought many new products and new disease. The Native Americans cherished the lands and its resources. The Native Americans came to the U.S. before the colonists. We are of the Ojibwe tribe, White Earth, Minnesota. My relatives helped the colonists and taught them many things. The colonists brought many new products and new disease. The Native Americans cherished the land and its resources. Traveled to America in 1620 on the Mayflower. William Brewster left England because his religion was against the law. The trip on the Mayflower was long and many people became sick. As they crossed the ocean, the ship finally landed on Plymouth, Massachusetts. My relatives helped form a colony and William Brewster became a church leader.
In the 1600s, the Sweetlands came to America from Europe because of the enclosure movement. They were forced off their land so it could be used for cattle grazing. Fortunately, 2 of the Sweetlands were ship captains. They nearly starved to death on the voyage. When they got to America, they had to start plowing land and making homes right away.
My great-great-grandparents came from Wales. They came to America because of the potato famine and World War I. After they arrived, the family lost their mother, and the children went to live with their relatives. Once the children were teenagers and they could work for food, they were able to live with their father. Again. They were very poor.
My great-great-grandfather, his wife, and 2 small children came to America on a ship from Belgium. When they came to Marshall, they had no place to live, so they stayed in the Catholic Church Rectory. My great-great-grandfather dug graves, cleaned churches, and helped others farm until he earned enough money to buy some chickens and a cow. Then he would ride around town on his bicycle because he didn't have a car, selling eggs, butter, and milk. My dad's mom's grandfather came to the United States from Belgium during the 1850s. In Belgium, his father was a fisherman, farmer, a wooden shoemaker, and rope maker. At the age of 12, their home burned down. Many valuable things were destroyed, including all of the fish nets they used. My grandmother's grandfather had to knit nets before he could play every day. He had to help his father at the river, hooking worms on the line hooks and holding lines and helping to steer the boat. They eventually held a public sale and sold their furniture and got ready to leave by train for America. They traveled on a 10,000-ton steamboat to America to settle on a small farm where they harvested corn and oats. There were crop failures due to the drought and heat. There were many hard times, but they managed to have faith and not give up.
My great-great-grandparents were married before they came to America from Norway. They left their families and boarded a ship. It was a long journey to Minneapolis, where John Hermstead worked in a woodworking shop. Later, they traveled by wagon with their 11 children to Ward Lake in northern Wisconsin. They cleared the land for fields and built the buildings by hand. They also started the first Lutheran church in the area.
My ancestors came from Norway because they wanted to better themselves. The farms in Norway were small, and only the oldest child would inherit the farm. So my great-great-great-grandparents came to America where land was available. They traveled with oxen and wagons. They lived in dugouts that had dirt walls. It rained so much that they had to dry out their food. There were also snowstorms, but they were able to settle and find land.
My great-great-grandpa Steiner came to the U.S. from Norway. That's where we got our last name Olsen. He had his wife and 2 small sons, sailed on a ship with many other settlers. They had lots of trouble with food and had very little money. They settled in Wisconsin, where they built a house and a barn for their cow. Their sons went to school just like we did.
A boy 8 years old named Seymour came to America after World War I. He came with his dad, and their plan was to make enough money to bring the rest of the family over to America. The boat was crowded where they slept. They hit many storms. After 2 weeks, they got to the Statue of Liberty. Before he could enter America, he had to pass a medical examination. When they landed on Ellis Island, they were asked questions and was declared too sick to go any further. On Ellis Island, he met some other sick boys, and every day they would go to the shore and try to see America. Once he was better, he started singing and performing in concerts and making money for the rest of his family to come. In a few years, they had enough money, but in 1824, the government was not letting many immigrants into the country. He was able to sing before the president, and ultimately his family was allowed into America.
My great-great-grandfather came to America quite by accident. He worked for a shipping company. During the voyage, they were hit by a really bad storm. The crew found out mummies were the cargo. Everyone thought that they were cursed, so they threw the mummies overboard. When the boat landed in America, he was too ashamed to go back to Germany and stayed in America.
My ancestors came in the late 1800s from Germany, Norway, Austria, and England. My great-great-great-grandpa's parents came from Austria. They were worried about my great-great-great-great-grandpa being a soldier in the Austrian army. When they came to America, they lived in a one-bedroom house with 5 children. My great-great-grandpa came from Norway when he was only a teenager all by himself. He worked as a hired man and a carpenter. He sold wooden stave silos during the winter and built them and other farm buildings during the warmer months of the year. My grandma remembers him telling about how cold it got in Norway during December. The sun only came up for a few minutes. My great-great-great-grandpa from England was in the British Navy. He was once shipwrecked in the Straits of Magellan on the tip of South America. He saved himself by swimming to shore. My relatives experienced riding the train for long times. When they arrived at the depot, they had nowhere to sleep except for the floor. They also had to pack all their stuff into one large trunk and say goodbye to all their friends before coming to America in hopes of getting rich.
My ancestors came to America on a ship from Norway and Germany. They ended up settling in South Dakota where they farmed and had cows and horses. They had very little money and faced many hardships, including grasshoppers and a drought during the 1900s to the 1910s. The Indians frightened Grandma ran home. They were a very hard-working family and always thought tomorrow would be a better day.
My great-great-grandma came over when she was only 3 years old with her mother and sister. They came from Germany because of the war. Her dad was ranked high in the German army, and after their leader was shot, he felt like he would be next. He rode away on his horse and hid under a bridge until everyone had left the area. Unfortunately, he stayed outside too long, and he died when he got back home. His wife fled Germany and came to America. She claimed a house for a man she later married. During World War II, people wrote a message on their sidewalks. They made them cry because German was their home country.
My great-great-grandpa Joseph came to America from an area of Europe called Abkhaz. This was on the border between Germany and France. He came because he would have been forced to serve in the German army. He was only 16 when he came to America and did not speak any English.
My uncle's grandfather came to America in the late 1800s. Jens Madsen came from when he was only 18 years old in search for a better life. He found a job on the Hudson Railroad. Eventually, he saved enough money to buy a farm. Then he had enough farm and land with horses and then built his own house.
Andrew and Christine Johnson came from America from Denmark in the 1890s. Andrew sailed to America first because he didn't have land or a good job to support a wife. He had to sit on the bottom of the deck of the ship with all the animals and the luggage to get here. After he worked in America for 1 year, he had saved enough money to send for his wife, Christine.
About 20 years ago, my mom came to America. My Korean grandma sent my mom to the USA so she could have a better life. It took her 24 hours on a plane to reach Omaha, Nebraska. She had friends both in Korea and America, but she found it difficult to fit in, especially here because she didn't speak English. Finally, she learned how to speak English with help from school and people in the community.
My parents came to America from Korea. They came so my dad could study here and learn English better. My parents had to prepare to come to America by learning basic English, saving enough money to travel, and preparing a document and passport for permission to enter the United States. Even then, my parents encountered many hardships. It was difficult to get used to living in a different culture.
relatives came to America in 1987. They came here because of American CIA involvement during the Vietnam War. They were persuaded to leave and forced to live in concentration camps. My dad and my relatives did not know how to read, write, or speak English. Even though many of my relatives died, others like my dad were able to start a new life here in America.
My grandmother came to the USA because of the war in Laos. In 1975, a soldier named Meng Tho was working for the American soldiers and was able to take his family to the city of Long Cheng. Many people were hurt and killed after the Vietnamese attacked the city. People fled across the Mekong River to Thailand, where they lived in refugee camp Ba Nova. 19 years later, the United Nations asked the refugees what country they would like to go to. My grandma, mom, and dad chose the USA. They went back to Hong Kong to get an airplane that brought them here. It was difficult for them because they didn't speak English.
My parents came to the U.S. to escape war in Nicaragua. They walked here for 2 months. Sometimes they had to stay in hotels or with people they didn't know. They finally made it to Texas with their passports and then Marshall, Minnesota.
My parents and my sister came from India to move to Canada, where I was born. Then my dad moved to the United States to buy a hotel and to learn financial. Then, about a year later, my family moved with him. This is an Indian song every Indian knows. We use
sings it in prayer. We sing it in prayers and other religion places. Om Bhurabhuva Swaha Dasdavidrendraenyam Bhagavati Vasadiyahi Bhyahomas Prachodaya.
My family came to America from Honduras to make a better life for their children. They had some problems getting all the U.S. documents, a license, social security number, and finding a job. They worked hard to come here.
My grandfather, Mike Siete, traveled to America. My grandfather, Mike Siete, traveled to America with his family when he was 13 years old from the country of Jordan, just outside of Bethlehem. He was the youngest of 4 kids. His father, my great-grandfather, brought his family to the United States so they could go to college in America. It was very difficult transportation for everyone. It took 2 entire days for the families to get to California, change planes several times, only to drive across the United States and finally to Ohio, where they lived for many years. My family only spoke Arabic, and everyone in America only spoke English. It was very difficult to communicate. The people in America did not look kindly on the people from the Mideast who came to America only for good education. My grandfather worked very hard to become more Americanized. He learned how to speak English by watching cartoons. He loved living in America, and he is a great man.
in all the packets that I read, I was disappointed nobody was from the Bahamas. But I thought, well, we all like to go to the Bahamas. And so we did the John B. Sayles, and some of you remember that as a Beach Boys number, although those words aren't quite appropriate for us to use. But this is the Bahamas folk tune, and the recent workshops that I've been at said that no longer do you have to have authentic instruments to perform these songs, that you can make do with the instruments that you have. So that was our steel band that you heard. And the steel bands came to the Bahamas after World War II when they were left with all those big oil drums and gasoline drums. They didn't know what to do with them, so they turned them into musical instruments, and that's how the steel band started. Our next guest that we're going to invite to come out is a lady that comes in and she does a lot of subbing for us, and her love is folk tunes. And the next song that she's going to introduce to you is a folk tune that she wrote, and I'll let her tell you the story. Let's give a nice round of applause for Carolyn Bearcola.
Should I bring it over here right away? I want to be off to the side. I guess we're going to go this way. So can you hear me? Let's turn this around a little bit again. Not you. Well, I have a special chance to do a lot of folk songs with the kids. When I come in and substitute, a lot of the times the teachers will let me do folk songs with them. So I was over at Westside last year for a couple days doing folk songs with 3rd and 4th graders. And I went home the first night and listened to the news, and I heard an unbelievable but true story right on the news about this duck that was shot by a hunter down in Florida. How many of you heard this story before? Okay, so it's worth telling again. This hunter shot this duck, took it home, stuck it in the fridge. And 2 days later, the hunter's wife went to the fridge, opened it up, and the duck was alive in the fridge. So she didn't know what to do. She called the vet. And then the vet operated on it to try to save it because it had been injured when it got shot. And it died on the operating table. And 20 seconds later, it started flapping its wings again. So it was the duck that would not die. And it went from there to heal at a place called the Goose Creek Wildlife Sanctuary in Tallahassee, Florida. And, the announcer that told the news story said, ended the story with, "How about that? The duck that would not die." And I thought that really sounded like a song. So the next morning, it was a song. And because I was subbing over at Westside, the first group that ever sang it was last year's 4th graders. They came in one class at a time, bing, bing, bing. We all learned it. They are now this year's 5th graders. So we have to sing this song. I don't know if we can officially call it a folk song yet, Mrs. Schmidt. Unless all you kids promise to sing it to your grandchildren. Then we... And just to make this song really authentic, we're going to add the duck. And Miss Charla Smoke, who's our band director here, is going to come out and be our duck. You have to stand by me. I'm going to look at them more than I'm going to look at you because this is a song with us. And so I'll sing to them and they'll sing to you, okay?
must say it really hurt. When I landed in the dirt. Hunter came and picked me up. Threw me in his pickup truck. Took me home to clean me later. Stuck me in his refrigerator. I am the duck that would not die. I want to live, I want to fly. Like a cat that has nine lives, when it came to this surprise. Try to make a meal of me. You'll be sorry, wait and see. 2 days later, that guy's wife got the surprise of her life. When she opened up the door, quack quack left her on the floor. Full of mercy and regret, they took me to their favorite vet. In the operating room, there I met my second doom. I am the duck that would not die. I want to live, I want to fly. Like a cat that has nine lives, when you came to this surprise. Didn't mean to scare your wife, but I'm fighting for my life. Surgery stopped, but sadly said. Sorry, but this duck is dead. Mournfully each head did drop. Suddenly my wings did flop. Patched me up and needed carried to the nice bird sanctuary. Soon I'll be as good as new. Life on Easy Street is cool. I am the duck that would not die. I want to live, I want to fly. Like the cat that has nine lives, when you came through this surprise. Now I'm searching low and high. This cute chick should have a guy. I am the duck that would not die.
During World War II, Elizabeth McKinnon, my great-grandmother, who was living in England, met a U.S. Army soldier, my great-grandpa Grover Folk. She was actually from Scotland but was working in England at the time. She faced the hardships of war, food shortages, and the unknown of coming to America with her husband. I admire her because she wanted to experience a better life in the U.S.
Life on the prairie was not an easy one. This expert is not from the early experiences, from the pioneer recorded by P.O. Instead, my father, great-great-grandfather, during the harvest, I worked for Ole. 5 of us tying bundles after wood reaper. The crops were very good that year. Last, the town site was surveyed on the very field that I put my first harvest in Dakota. In stacking, I worked for Boyum, who had a hardware store. He was a very nice man to work for. I received $2 a day during harvest and stacking. Later, the wages fell off. After doing a few odd jobs, Canute and I left for home. He talked about the storms, early frost, and drought that brought hard times to his family. But in the end, it was all worth it.
The next song is a Scottish tune, and we've heard it all on New Year's Eve, and you get to sing along with us. So if you get your programs out and sing along with us. I'd like to thank you all for coming. We'd especially like to thank all the teachers, and we'd like to thank Mrs. Bearcoller, and of course there are some special thank yous at the bottom. Mrs. Hen taught them how to do the polka. I'm sure you heard about the dance unit that we did, and so we wanted to draw all this into our cultural study tonight. The Lyon County Museum has a great exhibit talking about the area and how it was immigration to Marshall area and how it developed. And so it's really worthwhile to see that. It has a log cabin and some artifacts from Camden Park that's over 1,000 years old. So it's really a wonderful facility for us to have that here. We're going to finish with our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. Would you please rise as we finish with our program?